G'day everyone, Jason Haines here once again, QPL Rural, with another look around the Riverina at what's been happening in property in the last week. Well, probably the big news this week is that FIRB approval has been granted for the Webster sale, and shareholders will vote on it on Monday. This may clear the way for the $854 million deal, which does affect our area. Obviously, Webster has great land holdings and water holdings in our area. And it does look like there's every likelihood that PSP Investments will become the new owners of Webster. PSP has been very active in different markets in Australia for a number of years now. They are a super fund out of Canada with some 30,000 members, made up largely of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. They've had extensive interest in Australian agriculture in the last couple of years, and it is interesting to see how super funds from overseas are showing more interest in our agriculture here than what our local funds are doing. This Webster deal, for example, is reported to be some 17,100 hectares of cropping, and 320,000 hectares of livestock enterprises, and approximately 3,000 hectares of orchards in southern New South Wales, South Australia and Tasmania, as well as major water assets spread throughout. Now, the pursuit of Webster does indicate a growing trend of people or businesses looking to secure more horticulture-based operations. I've had a number of inquiries over the last few weeks, and they may make opportunity for producers out there. We've got businesses now that are looking for, couple of thousand acres with multiple water sources. As long as they can command good water supply both out of a bore and either river access or a good channel access, then this might be the opportunity to capitalise on the current demand. Now, it might mean selling the whole farm, but it could mean getting some very good returns on a small portion of the farm that you might choose to subdivide off, mobilising capital within your business or for other investments. If you have got some thoughts in this area and you'd like to discuss them further, by all means, give me a call. In your own backyard, the surge in prices that we've seen this week in lamb and in the pork market has seen increased inquiry about properties that will handle livestock. Buyers specifically are looking for properties with secure water. Now, on the books this week, we do have a couple of very large row cropping operations. Again, they do have good water access, but they are large holdings, so if you're looking to expand in that cotton space or corn, which there's a fair bit of corn around this year, please give me a call there. There's some big acquisitions out there to be made. The one that I have spoken about many times, and it's probably more of a mixed farming block, is that Yanco Creek Aggregation. I do believe this one is going under the radar. It is a good mixed farming operation where you can sort of swap from enterprise to enterprise. This might include cotton, corn, wheat, barley, even permanent plantings such as almonds, citrus in a small area, potatoes, but also equally as important is sheep and cattle. So a true mixed farming property with good access to water, good lateral irrigation there. So certainly a fair bit of country there that's already covered by laterals, and it does have water both from that Yanco Creek system and from a Zone 3 deep bore. Now, there is a fair size holding here of 5,150 acres, so it is quite a big holding, but the vendor is prepared to cut it up if the right deal is done. As I said, Yanco Creek Aggregation, slipping under the radar and well worth your attention here. There's not much that this property wouldn't be able to do, and it is located only a few kilometres out of Narrandera. Now, a quick look at property around the world. An interesting read in the Weekly Times this week about some major property sales that are advertised around the world. How would you like to try your hand at 170,000 hectares in Texas at $473 million? Another great example over there is $133 million for 5,290 hectares in Nebraska. This does boast underground water, and this is prime corn cropping, but certainly at a price tag of $25,141 a hectare Australian. We're a long way in front of where we are in Australia. Other great examples: if you want 105 hectares in Hampshire, England, admittedly it's got a pretty nice home on it, but $125 million there. Or if you want 413 hectares in Norfolk, England, you can get that at a lot cheaper at $18.8 million. Or you have your own island in New Zealand, or Nelson in New Zealand, 521 hectares coming at 15.5 million Australian. So certainly an interesting look at what's happening around the world, and makes you think about how they make a return on such valued property. Now, as always, if you'd like any more information on any one of our properties here today, please give me a call at any time on 0488 594 450. I look forward to catching up with you all again next week. Cheers.